let's do it.
let's start with the formal things. So, hello everyone, this is Sathya Nikhil. You're watching me on my YouTube channel or you're hearing me in your favorite audio platforms. I, as promised on Instagram, I'm here with Albert N. So, brother, like, introduce yourself. Like, what do you do and like, what's your age and stuff for our audience. I mean, I
Yeah,
obviously know.
definitely. Like people, for you guys seeing me for the first time, my name is Albert. On YouTube, I do a lot of videos on like no fab challenge, and also I do a lot of videos on self-help and development. And I've also done a lot of videos on software engineering as well. That I have like two channels. So one is for software. It's called Crazy Coder All, and one is called Overcome Rise. That's kind of where I put in my like, no-fab videos and also about self-development. So those are some of the channels I make. Right now, currently, I'm working as a software engineer in Silicon Valley. I'm in another state right now, so this is not really my own hotel. I'm in a hotel somewhere else. So yeah, great to meet you guys.
Yeah. So everyone who's hearing this, uh, Albert is a really big man. He really knows what he's talking about. So if you're so basically if you're 18 plus, you can continue watching it without an issue. But if you're someone who's not 18 plus, I suggest you to ask yourself if you know what is porn and all that. If you know it, I think you should watch it because this is something you have to know. And stick around till then. And we hope we're gonna bring the most out of Albert here.
Definitely.
So, yeah, bro.
Mhm.
Like, are you a software engineer right now, like by profession, right?
Yeah, by profession, I make like software for Android phones, and I make websites.
Okay.
I have like a GitHub repository. Like, I think my public repositories on GitHub is probably like 100 something projects, and I have
Whoa,
like
whoa.
300 something projects total. So I did a lot of like Bitcoin hackathons, cryptocurrency hackathons, and
Mhm.
also on the other side, a lot of mobile apps and stuff like that too. So been a software engineer since 2012 and made a lot of apps.
Like, when was the first time you uploaded your YouTube video? Like the first year?
Yeah, my first time uploading a YouTube video. I tried some videos for like I was practicing public speaking. So
Okay.
I was in a Toastmasters club. That was an international club for public speaking and things like that. And when my buddy, my roommate, and we made our Toastmasters club inside our university, like kind of getting a branch for a franchise, and we tried to
Yeah.
charter it. That's when I first kind of knew about YouTube and started uploading my speeches.
Okay.
But really, my main channel, that's the one with like 30,000 subscribers. That
Mm-hmm.
one on NoFap, I made 2012, something like that, or 2011, when I made my first video. And it was because I was very down. I was like addicted to pornography, and I was watching porn almost 5 to sometimes even 10 hours like a
But
whole week.
that's intense. Like 10 hours. 10 hours is
Yeah,
like,
it was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So, okay, like, how many videos have you uploaded like on your channel, on your main channel, Overcome and Rise?
Yeah, Overcome and Rise, I think that channel probably around more 200 to 300 videos. I uploaded a lot.
So
uh,
yeah, as I mentioned, Albert knows what is talking about kids. So
a
okay,
lot of
yeah,
kids.
let's start with the curious part. Everybody is curious about the instead of trying to understand and everything, they're curious about the benefits part. So you've done NoFap, like NoFap for how long? How long have you done NoFap?
Yeah, I mean, I've been off and on the challenge for, I think, since
Like, okay,
2012.
what's your
Yeah,
best streak? Yeah, best streak.
my best streak. Oh, I think the longest I went ever with like as like kind of almost hard mode. That was about like almost at least 300 to 600 days.
That's
I think
intense, bro. Yeah.
longest ever, but I wouldn't recommend it to everyone. There's benefits and there's side effects, so like I gotta get into those a little bit later. Yeah.
Yes. So what are the top five benefits you would rate like only for quitting porn? Like
Yeah.
keeping no
There's
fap aside, only for quitting porn. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
there's
are
two
like the
parts
top?
of it, right? So one is the total quitting of porn, like not getting on the internet,
Mhm.
watching porn all day, like just the benefit of getting time back alone. Like I think that's one of the biggest benefits, the time. And
Okay.
then, I'm going to get into the benefits of the no-fap part, like, the hard mode and things like that. But
Yeah.
first, just kind of quitting internet pornography altogether, you get sensitized again. So, like
Mhm.
before, when I was like watching 5, 10 hours of porn a weekend or like almost every day, just like clicking on video per video, it wasn't even about the masturbation at that point. That
Mhm.
was just trying to find a more novel video, something new, more
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
shocking
Like,
or exciting. So that part kind of really messed up my brain, just doing that for years.
yeah, like this is the
Especially,
yeah. Sorry for stopping you there, but this is something like really I wanted to explore this because when anyone like starts watching porn, they literally you open a porn site, you watch any video you can, and you just get over with your masturbating and you just move on. But the more you watch, the more you watch, the more you get addicted to it. We just
Mhm.
feel like we need more like hardcore stuff. We just feel like we need more dehumanizing stuff to be more, yeah, right.
Yes,
uh
yeah.
yeah,
BDSM and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah, totally. Like could you add more to that? Like why do we really need the more intense stuff to just get the same amount of pleasure? Like, and how in which exact position were you in that moment, like when you
The
were so
beginning,
low?
like first time I ever watched porn in my life, first time was maybe I think it was 11 or 12. Like both of my parents were working, and then I was like,
That's
yeah, I was in the room alone with my computer. I had a computer in my own room and playing video games. And then, internet was pretty open. Like my parents didn't know about like, safety, like browsing safety and things like that. So
Mhm.
first time, like 11, 12, and it was kind of shocking. In the beginning, it was just like maybe swimsuits and things like that. But like
Yeah, yeah,
more time went on, it got like more shocking things and more because it wasn't about like, having a connection with someone or,
true, true.
having that kind of connection. It was more about the shock factor and what can I find more to kind of have that dopamine level up because there's
Yeah,
certain amount of stimulus you need in the beginning. Oh, the swimsuits makes you go exciting,
yeah, yeah,
and then it goes up and up and up, and then like unless you have that kind of crazy fetishes
yeah.
shown, you can't even get an erection after a while. Yeah,
Yeah. So basically, if you're someone who don't know what is dopamine, like dopamine is a like a reward, reward releasing thing in our brain, reward hormone, right? If I'm right. So it's a neuron which really like if you eat a tasty food, you feel that sensation, like you feel like you're zoning away. That is the dopamine hitting. If you like game for a couple of hours, the zone you get, that is dopamine. The same thing happens with porn. Like any habit, when you start, the pleasure is 10 on 10. Like you feel if you smoke one cigarette, the pleasure is like the nicotine is like, woo man, it's shocking. And then later on, you need to smoke a whole pack in a single day to get the same amount of high. In the same way that
exactly.
applies to pornography, as Albert is mentioning, in the starting stages, you're gonna feel like it's okay. You're just watching it once in a day, and then without even being without being aware of it, it turns into something which you're watching 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day. And as Albert has mentioned, not just time. I mean, time is a huge thing but keeping time aside is really gonna affect the way you look at other people. Like, what do you have to say about this, Albert? The way you, how did it affect the way you look at other people, like generally?
Exactly. I mean, when you look at other people, like, when I first kind of got too addicted and kind of watching porn all day long and wasting my time on that, it rewired my brain, right? And I think more people are watching porn earlier in life when they're very, their brain can be influenced very, very at a young age. So
Okay.
maybe like, when I was watching porn, I was like 11, but maybe some people watch it younger, like maybe sometimes to get internet access with phones and stuff, like
Yeah.
7, 8. So like when I stopped completely, when I was in high school, I tried to stop a couple of times in middle school as well. Like before, if I just kind of see a few pass by, all these creepy thoughts, these crazy thoughts would go by. But after I know that, okay, I gotta stop watching porn, I stopped for a week, just even a week. I kind of viewed a woman a different way. Like in the beginning, it was only objectifying and just looking at them as sex objects. And then after quitting porn for a while, I was like, oh, these are human beings. They're just like me. I should treat them better. I shouldn't, like, think of them as sex objects and things like that. So
Yeah,
that kind of really changed that part of my perception.
true. Like pornography, one, it keeps women on a pedestal. It makes you give women that super special treatment in your life. Like they make you feel more desperate. They make you feel insecure. Making, like, in the process of making them feel special, in the process of trying to get in their pants, it makes you make yourself feel insecure. That's the first thing it can do. And the second thing it will lead to is, you forget the human aspect. Like, they
Mm.
have emotions, man, their feelings, they have the need to connect with other person. In the same way, even on a human factor, I mean, like, they have bones and they have flesh and blood flowing in their body. Like, they have thoughts, they have ideas, they have art, like they have beauty, and you forget all those stuff, and the only thing you want from them is literally sex. And that also is not realistic at all, because pornography has a huge reputation of putting down families, and because putting down relationships because of its fake idea of sex. Because honestly, that's not how it works. And would you like to add anything on this, Albert? Like, uh, it-
Definitely.
uh,
Like,
yeah, how much, like, what makes you like what makes us decide basically that porn is fake? Like, I want you to add a bit more on that.
a lot of like the porn industry, especially, like, of course, like even just looking at the scripts of porn, you can see how fake it is. But also, there's just so many aspects that are kind of fake and distorted, and like especially when you're having actual real sex with a
Yeah.
lover, a person that you really care for. Like the foreplay and stuff like that is way more longer, like maybe like
True,
10,
true.
15 minutes. You have to kind of caress the woman and you have
Yeah.
to kind of make sure she's warmed up. Like when I first had sex for the first time in college, like all the perspective I had was just what I had from porn, and then it was just very awkward. Plus, it really kind of didn't really please the woman at all. So I think
Yeah.
some of the aspects of what I want to share is like it's better, especially when you're kind of getting off of porn, kind of know what is actually realistic, actually talk with people in relationships, or kind of even go on YouTube and talk about. There's a lot of videos, like I think it was like Cherry TV or something, where women actually talk about sex and actually getting real sex education through what is realistic and
Yeah.
these conversations from women, compared to just watching porn and thinking that's the only thing. Actually just go on YouTube, Cherry TV. That's kind of where I've had these, listen to a lot of these conversations women had on real sex and real relationships. So that's kind of what I actually recommend. Plus, one more thing, another benefit I had with quitting pornography and
Mhm.
quitting porn addiction was when I actually approached and tried to get my girlfriend for the first time, actually trying to be more of an attractive person, woman. That kind of really kind of skyrocketed my attraction level too, because when you're addicted to porn, you have these creepy eyes, you're just looking at their body parts and things like that.
True,
But
true, man.
and you also have very low self-esteem as well. But when you look at them as the same human being as a person, you look into their eyes, you're more confident, and you have this kind of aura of a secret of like, I've
True.
overcome
Yeah.
something today, and
Yeah.
you become much more confident around women. So that's another benefit I want to add on to you guys.
Yeah, that's great, man. Like, I don't, I'm really, I didn't think that in Korea or in Japan, and in America, there is a certain amount of, it's not that explicit. It is not treated as something sinful. But here, in India, it's even taboo to talk about pornography. It's even taboo to talk about sex. It's even taboo to talk about the very thing we are born from. You know, that's how it is. And here still, it's like, they feel like the kid is falling off from the sky. It still has that treatment. And I feel the more you suppress the desire, the more and more it's gonna jump up. It's just like a spring. We need to learn to control the desire. I believe in that. Yeah. So yeah, that's the scene of the India. And
I mean, you can just look at the statistics. Like, Japan is very open about sex. Korea is very suppressive. Very similar.
okay.
Maybe India, maybe. Like we have, like, it's very taboo to talk about sex in Korean public. Even women are very kind of shunned to talk about sex. Like,
Mhm.
even having conversation with some people I dated in Korea, it was very hard, and a lot of sex education wasn't there. But if you
Mhm.
look at the statistics, Japan has way less sex crimes than Korea. Like South
Okay.
Korea has more rape, more what do you call it, subway kind of harassment, things like that, compared to Japan,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
sex is more open. So just looking at neighboring countries alone, you can see the suppression kind of affecting a lot of people there.
Yeah, coming to that point, especially in India, they are literally known and unknown. If you just to look at the statistics, there are almost like 80 rapes in a single day, and
Wow.
that's how much it is, because it's really suppressed. It's really not spoken about. And women, there is this thing called the New Age feminism, where I believe feminism is something which makes women as human as man.
Mhm.
That is how it should be defined. But the
Definitely.
new age feminism is really going the opposite way, especially in India here, because
Kind of becoming man hating, kind of, right? A little
yeah,
bit.
it's becoming man hating. It's becoming man competing, because we have our roles to play, both the genders do. But here it's really anti male. Mostly it's anti male. The real women who are feminists, they don't call themselves feminists. Yeah, they don't call themselves
Mm,
feminists. They just do the shit that makes them feel equal. They're independent, they're strong, and they live their own life. Yeah, keeping that aside. So
mhm.
I want to come back to
Okay.
pornography, and uh, you know how porn makes us wait, I'm just missing the point, man. How porn makes you how it targets your specific desires. Like,
Mhm.
if you look at it, there are all kinds of women. There are like each and every kinds of shapes in a woman, because we,
Mhm.
like, as men, from our, if you go to previous generations, like 1,000 years ago, we need to
Mhm.
fight a war with another man to get a love of a woman, to win the love of a woman, to get to have sex with her, basically. But now,
Yeah.
in our mobile phone, we have women belonging to each and every country, women
Mhm.
belonging to each and every measurements, women belonging to each and every color, everything, man. Everything,
Millions.
like
Millions.
the business they're doing, they know what you want, they know what you like, and they're just playing with your attention span.
Definitely.
Yeah, isn't it? And like I want to add this. What is the false expectations which we build up from porn? You know,
Mm. Like
like,
those false expectations, right?
yeah, false expectations of sex, false expectation from women, and in the same way how the women feel from men. Women also who watch porn, they expect real life to be like porn, right? When you're manipulated only, when your whole idea of sex is porn, uh, that is how we think it is. When you the in the pornography, this makes me really laugh when I say it, but when you watch a lot of porn, when you miss the real human touch, you will feel that the process of approaching a woman, making her fall for you, impressing her, and having sex with her, vice versa for a woman also, you feel that that is a difficult process. Why not I just sit at home and watch porn?
Yeah,
Porn
exactly.
manipulates us in such a way that it makes us settle for this, which is literally nothing. It's literally you're just releasing
Yeah,
your hormones. Yeah.
to access millions and millions of videos in like the internet. Why would a man, go through the whole process of fear of rejection, buy a woman dinner, try to court her and date her? That is like so much time, money, and energy, and also fear of rejection. Like,
Uh,
being rejected. I think I've been rejected by at least thousands of women by this time. Definitely, like among thousands of women, I'm glad, I have like someone special I have right now. But through that process, of course, I became like a better person, I feel, and kind of more confident in approaching women. But
yeah.
just if people have porn, they call them the herbivore men in
Mhm.
Korea and Japan. There's these groups of men who would never date. They never had
Mhm.
sex, and
Okay.
they do is just watch porn all day long.
Seriously,
Yeah,
like is that a real thing? Like, are there
it's
people
a
who
real
do
thing.
that?
Type in herbivore men in Japan
Okay.
or herbivore
Oh
men in
man.
Korea. There's like these whole set of men, not even sometimes leaving their own room and just playing games and computer games. They don't even have a job, and they don't make money either. So they don't want to earn money. They don't want to come out of their like basement of their parents' home, and they never want to have a girlfriend actually. So there's a whole group of people out there. But some people might think it's losers, but I think porn has a huge part and impact of these people not being productive in
Yeah.
society.
Yeah, true. Like, because the reason is the best pleasure, the pleasure which the maximum amount of pleasure which we can unlock is just right in our mobile phone. And when that pleasure is right available to us in this very second, that person is not going to go to the hard way. He's not going to work hard. He's not going to face the rejection, because it has a fear of rejection. And the woman who is in porn, she doesn't give a shit about him, but she doesn't ever reject him. This technology, like pornography, it's designed in a way that even there are stuff which the woman feels like she is talking to you.
Exactly. It's like a fast food, when you have a burger in your hand, it's so many calories, it's very greasy, it tastes very salty, and it has a lot of sugar in it, but it's
Yeah.
all that dopamine. So a lot of people are getting overweight and fat nowadays because the instinct in our brain, our reptilian brain, that
Uh-huh.
is the inner brain, and we have the outer brain, the frontal cortex, that
Yeah.
is for logic and actually thinking rationally. The reptilian brain inside our minds is still in millions of years ago. If they see calories and salty and greasy, they're like, oh, this must be good for survival. And you keep
Yeah.
eating that food until you get fat and overweight. On the other side, when you see a woman, like you're automatically trying to mate, and the brain tries to find the easiest path to ejaculation and a feeling of having sex. Your brain doesn't know the difference between porn and real sex. That's why you're hooked to that.
So
And
true,
like
man. So true.
fast food.
This is like when
Mhm.
people listen to this, I'm pretty sure like they're gonna be shocked, because we
Mhm.
really have no idea that, because in the brain it's the same thing, but in reality
Definitely.
the feel, the breath, the warmth, the touch, and all of those things add up, and those are what like really make meaning to it. And to the people who are like, I have few friends, they counter argue with me. Then how do we know, like, how to have sex? How do we know the process of having sex? Like, brother, how did our grandfather, grandfather know how to have sex? How do the dogs on the road have sex? Do they watch
Definitely.
porn? Hell no. It is
No way, right?
naturally in you. Yeah. It is. It is.
They don't have internet in dog world. Yeah.
It's inbuilt in you. You know how to have sex naturally. You don't need no one to teach that to you. You just need to know that you need to be treating the person safely. And porn is no way teaching you to treat a person safely. It is only treating you to damage the other person. And there are specific fantasies. There are specific things like, choking a woman, and like making a man feel like something different. There are like mind fucking desires, like
Definitely.
these mind fucking desires are not even I can't even tell it, because they're so stupid. They're like leg fetish or like some shit like that. All of these are only distorting your idea of woman. They're only distorting your idea of men. No man or no woman who can behave that way in real life. Even if they do, they only do to please you. And
Hmm.
sooner or later, no one's gonna stay with us by pleasing. And actually wanted to add something, like before, when you were telling, uh,
Hmm.
see, when we go for the easy fix, anytime when you see a woman, like you're attracted to her, but you're not able to approach her, you're scared, you have the fear of rejection and stuff, and you go watch porn, you jerk off, and the reason, the intensity you have in you just goes away, the motivation goes away. But here is what happens if you don't, you know jerk off. The thing, that rejection which hit you in your heart stays in you. It motivates you tomorrow morning to do some shit which makes you worthy. Once you
Definitely.
feel worthy about your damn self, you're not going anywhere seeking approval of anyone. You're so much filled, approved with you. And when you want someone, you tell them that you like them. If they want, they're gonna be. If not, you know, Not everyone has, not everyone wants to be with you, and we just have to accept that.
And it's like self-confidence and self-esteem, man. And no one's gonna, like, maybe out of 100 people 20 people will really like you. So just
Yeah.
keep throwing yourself out there. I had a hard time, like, I went through the whole phase of, like, being an average chump to, like, trying pickup artist and approaching a lot of girls, trying to go into real social dynamics and RSD Tyler,
Mhm.
things like that.
Okay.
And then, once I got in a relationship, I went through, like, the 5 love languages, trying to maintain relationship. That was very hard. And then after I went through a lot of breakups and heartaches, I think I kind of went through that phase to have a long-term relationship and be happy in it. So I want everyone to kind of go through that phase. If you guys are a beginner, it's okay to try pick up and go into real social dynamics and things. Like, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but I think it's a pretty awesome way to go through, like, that whole pickup phase. I
Yes,
think
but
it
yeah,
really helps
after
you
the
guys.
lockdown, my man, after the lockdown, not now.
Oh, not now though. Not now. Use Tinder. Just use Tinder. Do all the online games, online stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, and I want to see, if you were someone who watched porn, like even me and Albert, I want you to think it in this way. If you're watching porn, it's like you're watching two people have sex from their keyhole of their door or from their window. Just picture it like this. How fucking creepy would it be looking at it from a third person's perspective? Like, here is a camera and here is a guy, which is you. You're watching porn from the door, like, to another person's bedroom. You're not involved in it. The woman doesn't give a shit about you. Nothing, right?
So,
And I
so
feel the reason I use this language is that we really need that kick, to get out of it, because our brain is super intelligent. It doesn't give a fuck about our health. It doesn't care about our wealth. I mean, we need to use it as a tool for anything, for anything, for us to walk in a way. So basically, your brain cares about pleasure. If it's getting
definitely.
pleasure by eating cheeseburgers, it's going to eat cheeseburgers all day. If it's getting pleasure by masturbating 6 times a day, I guarantee you it will make you masturbate 8 times tomorrow. That is how
Yeah,
it's going to treat you. So the one thing you have to do is stop giving it that supply. Yeah.
exactly. You're not your brain. You are different from your brain. Who you are is your frontal cortex, the logical and reasonable part of your brain. That's the real you. Your inner lobe, that's not your brain. You gotta kind of control it and know what to feed that brain, because the reptilian brain of you is totally different from the logical and thinking side of you. That is the actual you. So you gotta trick your reptilian brain sometimes and feed it the right things. Like, I hate exercising. I hate, like, putting myself to eat healthy food. I hate eating broccoli and celery and all these vegetables, but you have to have them for vitamins. I have, like, vitamins I eat every day and things like that too. But you gotta kind of force feed yourself good material. Like, you don't want to watch porn, but maybe you want to watch the videos like us, and it might be boring. This might be a 1 hour video, but
Yeah.
you gotta feed your brain these good videos and good self-help stuff, like you're feeding yourself vegetables. So
Sure.
be careful what you put inside your brain, and only try to watch things that are healthy for you.
Yeah. Like, I would like to add on this. For suppose, guys, if you watch an Iron Man movie, like 3 parts in a single day, the next damn day you are Iron Man. You are Robert. That's all. That's how you feel. You feel like an Iron Man the next day. That is how our brain works. If you hear to a love song, you're all becoming lovey-dovey. You want to be romantic right now. In the same way, if you're watching porn for so much long, if you're watching porn every single day, it will affect your eyes, your head, your heart, so many things. And
Exactly.
pornography, especially, I would like to add this, like, why is it so hard to quit porn? Because I have heard, I want to give a short answer to this, and then Albert will take it on. So, like, hardcore drugs, like cocaine and some other, like, extreme hardcore drugs, which aren't even available in India, which isn't even legal here in India. Pornography is leaving the same amount of impact on your brain. I read it somewhere. I think I read it on yourbrainonporn.com. So it says that the same amount of imprints, the same amount of pathways, neuro pathways, are generated when you watch porn. the same level like you like hardcore drugs. So how hard it, like quitting cigarettes is like very hard. I'm having a hard time quitting cigarettes. And how hard it is to quit porn, and why is it so hard, Albert?
Oh yeah, it is like crazy, insanely hard. Like alcohol addiction or fast food addiction or all these different things. Once you kind of, especially when you watch porn when you're young and you clicked on it so many times, the basic instinct of pretty much most is probably more for men. Maybe it could be for women as well. But
Yeah,
especially like as a guy, that through my experience, it's like this experiment with this hamster that fell into this huge pot of female mice. He like had sex with 300 female mice until that male mouse almost died and went into a coma for like a whole week until the scientists found out, oh, where's that male mouse? We almost
yeah,
lost that hamster. So it's like men are designed to have as many female partners as possible, trying to spread their seed. But like it's kind of the same way when you look at internet porn, in millions, access to millions of women at the same time. Your brain thinks you can only have sex like one time. It's so hard to find females. And in the wild, like in prehistoric times, that was true. It's hard to find females. It's hard to kind of actually have access to pornography at the time. So that's kind of why we were kind of built that way as well. Like men were supposed to keep having sex again and again and again. And this opportunity wouldn't come if it was real life or if it was prehistoric times. So
yeah,
we are kind of wired to keep on watching that porn all the time. So it's really hard to overcome porn addiction. Like the whole actual genetic sequence of males is to kind of constantly mate as much as possible.
yeah.
So
Like if
hard.
you're someone who watching porn, like here's a flash news for you. You don't care about the woman. You don't care about her body. You don't care about how sexy or curvy or anything about it. You only care about impregnating her. Period. That's all. We don't care to have anything. We have nothing with them except that. I mean, if you're watching porn, but if it's a real thing, you have the person who can understand you. I feel this is very, very modernized thing. Like you can have sex with anyone. That's how it is, like casual sex and all this stuff. I think it is acceptable to an extent. There's nothing wrong with it. But when there is something called real connection, when emotions, thoughts, understanding also bond into the real thing, the experience of the complete activity is divine, almost divine. Yeah.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
and pornography is just opposite of it. Pornography, if you watch, from where in the world would we develop an idea to have sex in your own family, except from in porn? From where do we learn it? Like all the stuff you see, like sister stuff, all that mother stuff and all those. And like the people who produce it, the people who make it, they consider it an art. Yes, it might be an amazing business, yes, but are you playing with with other people's brains? Yes. Are you damaging men and women? Hell yes. So
Mhm.
I respect that. I respect the people who do it. I have nothing with them, but I feel that Albert has made 200 videos about it. You know how serious this. And
Definitely.
the people who watch porn have, there are so many TED talks where there's a TED talk where a guy tells that his whole he had to divorce his wife because of porn. Like he wanted her to behave in a way, in a certain way, like a porn star, which she's a normal woman. How can she do that? Like it's impossible. Like even if she does, it's not real, right? There's nothing real about it. And okay, keeping this aside, I want to ask another question to you. Like, what was the realization like? What did it feel when you realized that all these years I watched porn, all these years I've damaged myself? So even the people who are watching now, they might feel, oh shit, I've damaged myself and all. And I guarantee, if you're just leaving the video and if you're going away without knowing how to quit, you're gonna go back. This is not a normal thing. Like you need specific guidance to quit porn. For me, I've watched porn the first time like in 14 years, when I was 14, and 15, 16, 17, 18. It was with me like almost till the past year. And once, like the past year, I was speaking to this girl, like she was my girlfriend. I was talking to
Okay.
her, and I wanted her to behave in a certain way, and it didn't work out, and it never works out. And that moment when she said no, and
Hmm.
I was always, when I tried to get intimate with her, when things didn't work out, I just went back to watching porn. And then I used to watch your videos. I used to watch Classic Obus. There's a guy called Classic Obus. I used to watch his videos. And there's Elliot Hustle. Elliot Hustle, like,
Hmm.
you know him, right? I used to watch his videos. They used to tell me like, yo, you need to be a man. You shouldn't watch porn. All of the stuff. When someone external is telling, it feels like, bah, he's bluffing. Oh, he's just, he just don't know how to enjoy your life, and all this shit. Like, of course, I also thought like that, just like a teenage guy. But once I've experienced the effects of it really, once the energy in me is to be drained, man, completely. Like I almost started YouTubing like in 2014. Like I used to upload bike videos. I used to be a moto vlogger. That is where I got my main crunch of audience, like the basic audience, like till up to the 100 and 200 point. And then now, like after quitting all this stuff, there was like a hit to me. All the time of my 2 to 3 years just vanished. And where the hell did it go? Just working
Yes.
on a simple job and just studying. And I had a lot of time which just went away for watching porn, and went
Exactly.
away wasting with the wrong people. And here's one more thing I want to line to it. If you're watching porn and if you're letting yourself feed all the negative thoughts, you meet negative people.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We attract the
You're in
people
that
we are
mindset.
like.
You're in that echo chamber there.
Yeah.
So like really kind of gets you in that negative mindset. And I had that same kind of experience where like I was 5 a.m. in the morning from after dinner, like for about 10 hours, I would be on my computer. And it would be even after like ejaculation and finishing, I would keep on trying to save videos and search for videos and more shocking things, even after ejaculation. I was wondering, why am I still watching this thing until like 5 a.m. in the morning? And I would be so tired the next day, and it would be
Yeah.
crazy like that. So that's kind of when I also figured out, yeah, that's the worst part of it.
The main motivation we have is like that energy in us. Your whole energy, your whole sexual energy, the whole sex is like the best thing you can use as a motivation. That is
Definitely.
the energy which like literally is creative energy. I've heard a lot of people tell that sex is the creative energy of us. And yeah, so I really want to add, like, keeping the relationship thing aside, there are people who argue with me when I say that I quit porn. You need to quit masturbating. Like the longest time I did no fap was like 60 days, and
Mhm.
that time I literally started working out. I was like acing up in my job. I was performing at the best I could, and I literally started uploading these videos on my YouTube channel after I conquered my after I did the 60-day mark. And my
Nice.
friends, it's a fancy thing to watch porn. Oh, you're a cool guy if you watch porn. But I don't like to make anyone hurt anyone emotionally, but isn't this the truth, man? Every second you're watching porn, you're shitting your time. You're not
Mhm.
just aware. You're not aware of it because you are consumed in that dopamine hit. It is not giving you the time to think about it.
Definitely, definitely. Like when you're in that mindset and you're just constantly feeding yourself dopamine again and again, your receptors they shrink in value because you need because of you watched that before and you have just so much of a dopamine rush, they get overwhelmed in your brain.
Yeah, yeah.
So they kind of shrink in value. So even if they hit a lot, you won't have damage to your receptor. So once you quit porn, they slowly come back again. And even with a little stimulus, you get more exciting, you get
True,
more done
true,
in
true,
life.
true. Like, yeah.
Once you're addicted to porn, you like nothing else is as exciting as porn. Like the only thing in your life that is exciting is just porn, and that's why you don't get anything accomplished as well.
Yeah, like, and Instagram modeling is close to pornography. I need to say this because All of that Instagram models, like if they have a talent, that's absolutely fine. Something other than no half nude pictures. If you're a man, if you're a man who's like following all these half nude women and you're trying to quit porn, no, it's not gonna happen. You have to put that away too. And if you're a woman who's looking at six pack abs guys and all these tall masculine niggas, wrong word, but all the tall masculine guys, if you're like looking at them and desiring or putting your desires, investing your desires in them, you can't quit
Exactly.
porn because that is as much fake as porn. It might not be same in the level of intensity, but it is. And like when we spoke in the morning, I mentioned this point. Pornography actresses or actors are perfect. You know, like
Mhm.
they don't have a single stretch mark. They don't have all the I have this hurt. This is from an accident. This is a part of me now. You acquire damages, you acquire experiences, you acquire food, and we become a person. Like that is what we become, right? The thoughts, the food, the damages, the pain we go through, that's what we become. So these are like babies. They look like babies with baby skin. Like they're literally with all the surgeries, it's so fake. But once you go on Google and search about the surgeries pornography actors have to
Oh,
go through, you'll be
definitely.
amazed. No real woman can look like that.
Yeah,
Take
exactly.
my
It's
word
all
on it. Yeah.
fake. And plus, it's same with men and women. Like even like Korean dramas going everywhere. Like real Korean men are not like Korean dramas at all. Is like there's
Yeah.
unrealistic expectation from women as well as men, and I think that's why it's getting harder and harder to date nowadays because women's expectations are so different. Men are addicted to porn, and their expectations are so different. It's hard to match those. So having more communication, being wiser, having an open dialogue, I think that's way more important. I think there's a movie that actually kind of did this. Gordon Levitt, I forgot his name. Gordon Levitt was in
Like
this
Don
movie.
John.
Don John, yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah.
About porn addiction and high expectation
Crazy
of
film. Like if you didn't
being.
watch Don John, whoever you are, man, woman, anything, just go and watch Don John tonight. It's on Netflix. I guess it's on Netflix. Go and watch Don John. It'll give you an idea. Yeah. By speaking of Don John, it brought me to a very interesting idea that your emotions, you lose control on your emotions if you are watching too much porn. It makes you an insensitive guy physically and a sensitive guy emotionally. It makes us so insensitive. If a woman is touching you, if anyone is touching, if a woman is touching you, if you're like a hardcore pornographic addict, you can't wait to go home and jerk off.
Exactly.
Yeah. Even if she's making a move, you can't wait to go home and jerk off. That is how we become. And yeah, and in your emotions, in the movie Don John, sorry for giving a spoiler, guys, but yeah, it's not much of a spoiler, but here it is. In the starting, this guy is very composed. He's working out, he has all his life covered, he has all figured out. And then he keeps looking at women in a bar who look like porn stars, and
Mhm.
every single day when he has sex with them, he speaks about how unsatisfied he is. He says a dialogue in this film: I wish porn could be life. Why aren't women so sexy in real life? Like all those dialogues, like it felt like it was my voice, man. I felt like that. You connect to that film that much. And in a scene, there's such a composed guy, such a well figured out guy, an alpha guy, which generally everybody like. Just because someone shouts, like after he realizes he's an addict, he goes and punches his car window. He loses his emotion. Like you lose control on yourself completely. Like would you
Yeah,
add would you like to add any experience of yours where you felt like you lost control, you felt like your life is out of your hands? Yeah, anything regarding that?
this was like in my semi years when I was in college, like right about time when I was starting to make my journey of overcoming porn, right? I was really into pickup artistry. I was like trying to get as many phone numbers as possible. I went through like the whole phase of Neil Strauss's pickup artist book, and I
Hmm.
would go to all these clubs, nightclubs. I would like I was very fit back then too. I'm a little bit chubbier now, but I was like working out
Yeah,
every day.
okay. Sorry for interrupting, but if you want to know, how fit Albert is. Go to Overcome and Rise. Click on
Oh man.
sort now and go to the last 7-year-old video where Albert is gonna throw like all the sai, like Japanese
Oh
sai. Am I right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Be aware
doing
to put on
amazing.
negative comments.
Oh yeah, that was when the last time I had a six pack probably. But it
Yeah.
was crazy. And I was just I had a different girl almost every weekend, and it
Wow.
was never satisfying. It was never satisfying. Like this, the amount of like sex was never enough to make me truly happy. Like I was just doing that just to make a notch on my diary or something like that. But
Yeah, yeah.
I never really had a deep connection with any of those women, and it was pretty sad. And I was much more unhappier than before. I thought sex would, save everything. Sex was now showing me it was like meaningless, and I was very unhappy. I was addicted to porn, and that's kind of how I started making those videos as well.
Okay, so we basically use the videos as a slight bridge and encouragement to literally come to the other side.
Exactly. I was documenting my process of overcoming porn, different aspects, because, when sunlight is the most best way to get rid of corrupt, sunlight is the best sanitizer. And I thought putting a light and being honest with myself on the internet, like
Yeah,
I was kind of, like, about my reputation and like, oh, what if like someone sees my videos and embarrassment, but the more I talked about it, the more confident I became, and the more accountable I became as well. So this process of 80 years of trying to overcome pornography addiction, that really, I think, helped me and kind of helped me on my self-help journey as well.
yeah. So how many years like have you been addicted to porn? How many years?
Addicted
Yeah.
since I think real addiction, when I knew I had an addiction, like was probably high school or middle school. I was like, oh my god, I can't quit porn. Like
Yeah,
it
like
affected
what was
me.
your age then? Yeah. What was your age then?
Yeah, so I watched porn since 11, and
Wow.
around 15, like 15, 16, I knew I was addicted. Like 3, 4, 5 years of porn, I knew I was addicted, and then I quit. That was my first time I tried to quit for about
Yeah.
6, 7 months, and immediately I found my grades go up. Like I
Okay.
was like studying much more harder after
It
that.
happens, man. It's really like it's almost like the energy which is going away from going into your flush in your toilet is literally working on you, on your brain, on your life. It's literally like
Exactly.
that. Instead of going down the drain, it's changing your skin. I observed like amazing things happen to my skin. Like I used to have a lot of acne. I still do have acne and all stuff. But I observed like I don't know how scientific this is, how much real this is, but I
Mhm.
don't know, maybe it's because of the cleaner food. Everything comes to place. If you're watching, if you stop watching porn and masturbating, you can't make bad choices. It just resists you from making bad choices. And
One discipline will domino all the disciplines. Like once I quit porn, because of that self-discipline increase like a muscle, I became exercising much better. I was eating healthier because I had the self-control to eat things I didn't want to eat, like broccoli and spinach and celery. Like I was eating those vegetables and good meat, like quality meat and things like that. And then I was into like getting into much more like discipline on my studies. I was number like bottom like 100 people, and then I was number one in my whole middle school, like number one out of 500 students, after a year of quitting porn. And I got into UC Berkeley, as exchange student, because during my college years I was like the top student in my whole university in engineering. I got into UC Berkeley and sent there as a
Mhm.
representative of the whole school. So among the
Okay.
whole school, I had the best grade to
Mhm.
be sent to America. And that's how I ended up in Silicon Valley, like internship and working for the Visa card, Samsung Research America, top Silicon Valley companies here like Amazon and Google and things like that. That's kind of how I got into becoming as wealthy, at least like financially wealthy, at least. Like that's how I became to become as I am today. So just
Yeah.
quitting porn will domino affect you to Of course, it's not be all end all. You have to work on your self discipline too. But the process of overcoming porn, that discipline you can put in other places like exercise and also your wealth and finance as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you're wondering what is Albert's age, Albert is 32-year-old, and he is like one of the example. If you're someone extremely addicted to porn, and if you're like very feeling very emotional, like Albert is an example that there is grass on the other side. You can literally quit porn anytime you want, and there are tons of videos and tons of guys to motivate you. But it all starts with a decision you take to quit porn. Whoever you are, if you're watching this video, if you're listening to us, if you're listening to our podcast, I challenge you to take up a 90 days no porn and no fap challenge. And trust me, you're gonna come out as a different person, completely a different person on the other side. And
Exactly.
I would like to
Like,
add this. Yeah, continue, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's taking
go
like
ahead, man.
a cycle for health. Some people take like a cycle of like exercise. They have like 90-day workout challenge. This is going to be the same thing, but make your brain much more healthier. So definitely do that 90-day no fap challenge and see the results. You want to keep on doing it. You're probably definitely going to keep on going.
Yeah, so I have this another question. Like the people who are watching this now, if they're wondering, like, how do I know I'm an addict? How do I know that I'm addicted to pornography? Like, can you please give me some signs? So I'm gonna
Definitely.
start with the first sign. If the women around you in your life, in your college, in your office, wherever they are, in generally women on public place, if they aren't appealing to you, if the only women that are sexually appealing to you are on your mobile phone, you're addicted to porn. So
Exactly.
I want Albert to earn a little few more signs and insights on how do people know that they're addicted. People still have this misconception. After we speak this much, still people think porn is just sex. I'd like to watch some other kind of porn, which is not so hardcore. But whatever kind of porn you watch, the destination is the same. The destination is losing of energy and regret. You're gonna regret losing that energy, and that's like almost guaranteed to happen. That's almost like inevitable to happen. You know,
Exactly.
yeah. Like Albert, add few more signs, man. Like how do we know that we are addicted to pornography?
Couple of more signs like I noticed in my own life, in my own experiences, like, of course, there's like the obvious signs like 5 a.m. in the morning, I'm watching porn 10 hours straight. I can't stop and keep saving
This
videos
is
and photos on my laptop. That's a really big red flag, and I
like
had the
like
experience.
like 5 hours, man. Like I really wanna appreciate you, man. Like from being that addicted to coming out of it and doing what you like documenting your journey. And I've seen your workout videos, I've seen your motivation videos, all that good work. It takes a lot of guts and stuff to do it, man. Yeah, first
Thanks.
of all, like if I think many people have said it to you already, because this is like it is like a certificate for manhood. If you feel like
Exactly.
you're a boy,
Mhm.
stop watching porn for 90 days. Stop fapping for 90 days. You will get a certificate of manhood. And like my friends, my relationships, my boss, everybody treated me different. Like my face was filled with energy. I was working out every single day. Like, like for example, this is there's a whole uh, energy, in you. Like you have filled energy and you empty it every single day. If you do
Yeah.
not empty it, it will find a goddamn outlet, right? It will find an outlet to working out. It will find an outlet through doing what you want or studying, or even sometimes it might find an outlet to meet, pushing you to meet real women. And a lot of porn watchers are they're habituated to being very weak. I mean, I'm not meaning it in a physical way. I mean like they're very much in a pattern that in their day-to-day life they feel empty all the time. You know how when your balls are full, you know that feeling. You feel that in the breath of yours, and they're
Exactly. That
so
every
habituated
how.
to being empty down there. Yeah, so that makes them feel if you're quitting porn for a few days, if they're doing no fap for 7 days. Oh, I've done a lot. I need a reward. I'm gonna fap today. That is how my brain used to trick me. My brain always managed to trick me. And sometimes even now I do this. Like when my brain tries to trick me, I get up, I write a video or I shoot a video or I work out or I just run. I go for a run.
Nice.
And
I
why
mean,
do I do that? Yeah.
to rationalize all those things, you know, it tries to rationalize yourself to go to that slippery slope to, you know, that path to just keep on watching porn again and again.
Yeah, here's what happens, no? It forces you. It gives you reasons. It gives you all that shit which makes you want to do it. Once you do it, I don't know. Yeah, that's how it's gonna react. It's just gonna settle down. It's going to behave like why did you do it? It is the same thing that will question you back. Like why did you do it? Like that's how it feels, right? No, once you before you masturbate, you're all filled and you just want to masturbate. And the moment you masturbate, you feel like you shouldn't have done it. Like it's an almost instant regret. This is almost a sign. If you're feeling an instant regret that you shouldn't have masturbated, that is a huge sign that you're addicted. And there's one more thing to know if you're addicted: quit it for 1 week. If you have
Mhm.
no sensations or nothing, you're fine. By fine, I mean please don't watch pornography from now. That's what
Just
I mean. But if you
1 week,
feel, yeah,
you know, you're
no, but
addicted pretty much.
yeah, but if you feel uncomfortable, go for a 90 days. And after that, it doesn't mean that you can go back. It means it becomes a lifestyle. If you do it for 3 months, it becomes a new normal. You don't have to strive for it. So Albert, like after all, after all the talk, after all this, like starting from how pornography and everything, I wanted to ask you, what was your first step to quitting porn, and how can a person actually start to quit porn? Like, what are
Oh,
the
yeah.
first? Like, I want you to start with like very practical, basic things. Things any person can start right now. Like, for suppose, waking up early or like fixing their habits, like anything which you have done. Start from some few practical tips and then go to you have specifically like videos which show which workouts to do to suppress your sexual energy. Yeah, so
Yes.
Al-
Really
if you want
create
to
lots of
on
steps to
Albert's
overcome it.
channel is like it is filled with all that content. You can watch it anytime. It's just like overcome and rise. Just search it on YouTube and you'll get it. And keeping that aside, like what are the practical tips, Albert? Yeah, go ahead.
Definitely, definitely. So, you know, there's like really, you know, these like I put it in actually like 10 steps. I kind of like, you know, really condensed it to 10 steps, kind of really kind of managing that and actually even have like a Udemy course, and it's probably still online with those 10 or 12 videos on the practicality of each of those steps and how to overcome it. And definitely
Hmm.
environment has, you know, a lot to do with it as well. And, you know, you're over always control of your environment. And, you know, I think the whole 10 steps, the whole process of overcoming porn addiction of my 8 years on the journey since like 2012 to 2020, like that whole process, I think we can have that as part two of this video.
Yeah,
So part two of the video will be on my channel as well. Check out the links down below. You
yeah,
can check it out and we'll have that top 10, 12, you know, steps and the process of overcoming that whole thing. Give you like the basics, the very basics and kind of how to kind of overcome, how to manage your environment, your sleep, your trigger routine rewards, and all the process, kind of get more into those steps. So check
yeah.
out part two of the video, guys.
Yeah,
Links
thank
down
you so much, guys, for watching this video. And the part two is available on Overcome and Rise channel. And don't go anywhere, man. I'm gonna just put it here in the recommendations. As soon as this is done, you're gonna get it. Let the outro play right now. Wait for a 5 seconds, and it's gonna play automatically. If you're listening this on an audio platform, this is just going to continue. You have nothing to worry. Yes, Albert. Yeah, let's take a 2 minutes break if you can. Yeah, let's take a break.
All right, man.